What if I told you your best buyers don't click your ads? They don't open your... Welcome to the dark funnel where attribution is one of the most difficult challenges. Right? And no, it's not a buzzword. We're not just exploring the concept here, but we're kind of trying to expose a broken system. Right? The goal is really, you flip the logic marketers that have been taught for years, right? You're told track every... The reality is buyer journeys today are messy, right? They're anonymous and invisible. Whether it is the attribution that you see in any analytical tool is just a timestamp, right? It's not the entire truth, right? And marketers aren't just blind, but we are blinded by the dashboards, right? So what exactly is happening? Why traditional funnels are broken? Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. What if I told you your best buyers don't click your ads? They don't open your emails and don't fill out your forms. But they are already 80% into their buyer journey without you ever knowing it. Welcome to the dark funnel where attribution is one of the most difficult challenges. Right? And no, it's not a buzzword. It's a blind spot that could be costing you millions. We're not just exploring the concept here, but we're kind of trying to expose a broken system, right? The goal is really to break the biggest misconception around attribution. You flip the logic marketers that have been taught for years, right? You're told track everything. You're told to optimize the data, right? And the reality is buyer journeys today are messy, right? They're anonymous and invisible. Whether it is DM conversations or whether there is a Reddit thread or Slack community, maybe even dark social shares, Zoom site chats, YouTube comments, ChatGPT prompts, they all are creating a black or a dark funnel for you. Right? And I remember a VP of SaaS company telling me how he read a Reddit thread to join a Slack community, right? And there he heard a CEO on a podcast, right? Which led to Googling about them, and then they landed for a direct demo. Now, if you see it, there is no UTM here, there is no lead source, there is no even targeting pixel. So the attribution, whether it's first touch attribution or the last touch attribution, is really a dark funnel, right? And that journey was about 6 months long, right? And had 10 invisible touch points, like the Slack community to a podcast, then they Googled, then came to our website for a direct demo, right? And then, so there is no way you could track, right? So dark does not really mean non-existent, right? The attribution that you see in any analytical tool is just a timestamp, right? It's not the entire truth, right? And marketers aren't just blind, but we are blinded by the dashboards, right? So what exactly is happening? Why traditional funnels are broken in a privacy first world, right? And I want to explain the structural shift in the buyer journey, in the buyer behavior, and in the privacy first world, right? And you know this, right? iOS or Apple mail privacy protection, the open rates are inflated and useless, right? And then there is a cookie deprecation, right? Remarketing ROI is crumbling, to say the least, right? B2B buyers want control, right? They search, they compare, they consult before clicking anything. Sometimes even rely on a very close network, right? And your funnel around visibility assumes your funnel assumes visibility, but buyers are optimizing for invisibility, right? And that's a great point here, right? If you actually think about it, the entire funnel is built around what the buyers are doing, what the buyers are seeing, what the buyers are watching. but the buyers are optimizing for invisibility. They are talking to their network, they are talking to their peer group, they are discussing in a Reddit or a Slack community, and that's a big challenge for any B2B tech SaaS marketers today, right? So what am I saying? The step one, you think that no clicks is equal to no interest. But are you sure, right? Because they might be researching you in private forums. And by the time you see them, they're already biased for or against you, right? So the old funnel, which is basically the awareness, consideration, decision, we have to flip on its head. It doesn't work anymore because the new dark funnel is lurking, comparing, referring, and even maybe making a silent commitment, right? So if your funnel relies on cookies, it is already crumbling. You are retargeting or you're targeting pixels, but they are asking peers, right? So I want to talk about a very powerful model to rewire the marketer's brain, right? The framework that I want to talk about, which kind of dives deep into the dark funnel compass, right? So the dark funnel compass starts with listening, and that shouldn't be surprising, right? But what is important here is the signals over metrics, right? Can you monitor your Reddit related or LinkedIn comments or third-party event chats? Look at sales call trends and review sites if you're a SaaS, or whether it's G2 or Trustpilot, or I don't know, maybe even Clutch for services companies, right? And then show up, right? The second step is really to show up, right? Can you show up where they lurk, right? Whether it's niche podcasts like these or expert collaborations, YouTube value drops, not ads, right? Build with distribution in mind and not just publication, right? And I think showing up where they lurk is an important component to your overall conversion, right? And then how do you embed brand over CTS, right? Can you create memorable assets? And that's the third step here, right? Create memorable assets, and that could be frameworks, right? That could be visuals, that could be metaphors, right? That kind of travel and spread within your community, right? And can you ungate it, right? Repurposable content. And I see that more and more companies are actually closing it down. They're gating content to get emails and leads information and all that, which sometimes prevents from widespread distribution, right? So I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but I'm just saying experiment with ungated content, video snippets, swipe files, or even value docs, right? And that you can create. So when you look at the fourth step, which is essentially nurturing, and we had our last video on nurturing, I think, was liked by a lot of people and it had a lot of engagement, but maybe take a look at that. In the nurturing, I want to talk about how retargeting, while sometimes can be very valuable, it is also equally weak, right? Relevance is magic, right? That is magnetic, right? Drip sequences are ignored when it is about time period like 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 day, 2 days. But can you I have always spoken about this earlier also, that the behavioral intent is greater always, right? So how do we talk about how do we create a different model? The old model was you track, you automate, and you score. But the new model is more about listening, embedding where they lurk, and then building trust with them, right? So brand is your tracking pixel in the dark, right? And you don't have to be loud, be everywhere where they are, like I said, right? Be where they lurk, right? And I want to talk about how I keep hearing about companies who created a 150k inbound deal which kind of originated from a quote on a podcast guest appearance for a SaaS company, right, in the human capital management space. And there was zero attribution, right, that tracked until they directly reached out. Or there is another example that I hear from one of my friends who was a content creator on LinkedIn who dropped a visual framework, and that got shared into a Slack channel, which kind of turned into a 3 demo request, right? So, whether and then there is, of course, we are very familiar with how our retargeting campaigns that got 10,000 clicks, 0 conversion, right? And then meanwhile, a one line insight on Reddit sparked a real conversation. So these examples kind of reinforce the dark funnel success and influence before visibility, right? And so what does this mean for us, right? What mid-level marketers can do today, right? And I want to talk a little bit about the actionable shift here, right? So the shift one is focus on signal detection, and that's what even in my previous video I kind of spoke about that, right? Lead scoring is not everything, right? Lead scoring is important, but signal detection is even more important. Someone from your ICP company asking about a pain point is fantastic, right? And the second shift in your mindset is how can you create a 3 times more dark funnel content assets? Can you create visual frameworks, explainer clips, or maybe even a founder point of view, right? Real world use cases. These are amazing assets, right? To create conversations in private groups and forums, whether it's LinkedIn or Reddit or Slack or whatever that is. And then start a closed loop feedback system with your sales to tag non-attributable buyers and reverse map their journey, right? Create a quest, ensure that your sales is asking the customers where did they hear about you, all right? And log that in your sales force, because it is very important, right? That's how you can address this dark funnel attribution and reverse map the buyer journey, right? And then I would really encourage you to invest on platforms that can actually help you for anonymous journey mapping, right? But only after a mindset shift, right? So here are the plays, right? Make sure that there is a dark funnel tag in your CRM. Basically, where did they hear about you, right? And then have a Slack channel for shadow leads. Build advocacy with creators in your niche, whether it's the SaaS world or a tech world. And it doesn't matter whether it's marketing, HR, sales, procurement. You always have these niche creators who kind of influence, and there you can do this value drop, right? With amazing content that could build conversations for you. And I think these are very powerful ideas, right? These are very different from the traditional launching an email campaign, doing a lead score, having an open rate click rate, and having your inside sales call. These are completely myth busting, right? And the funnels didn't die, it just went underground. You know what I'm saying, right? The dark funnel isn't the problem, it's the real buyer journey, right? And the only question is, are you ready to meet your buyer before they become visible, right? And you don't have to chase your buyers, you're building gravity, right? And stop asking how to track more, right? That has changed because your buyer is going underground, right? Start asking how to be remembered. The best buyers come through the darkest path, right? And there is enough evidence to suggest this, that only 1% or less than 1% of outbound calls are getting converted, right? So how can you pay more and more attention to your buyer behavior and generate this inbound lead by creating a conversation on these private groups, All right. So if you like this content, like, subscribe, and I would love to hear from you on how these dark funnel is changing the game for you. I hope you found it helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.